Good afternoon.
We'll be starting in just a second. All right, good afternoon. Are you Maisha Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Judge Julia Hayes. I preside over County Criminal Court number 2, which is where your case is assigned. Welcome to the virtual courtroom. We are on the record in cause number M1914330, the state of Texas versus Maisha Bell. This is a hearing for purposes of the defendant entering an agreed plea. Therefore, the state of Texas has waived its appearance. All of us are appearing over Zoom video conference, the court's court reporter, the court's probation officer, Maisha Bell, and her attorney of record, assistant public defender, Mr. James Spangler II. Ms. Bell, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Are you Maisha Bell?
Yes.
And what is your date of birth?
March 28th, 1991.
And did you agree that we do your plea over Zoom video conference?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what you're charged with today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you discussed your rights with your lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to have a trial?
No, ma'am.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you believe your client is mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms.
Yes.
Bell, what is your plea?
I plead no contest.
I accept your plea of no contest. While the evidence is sufficient to find you guilty, instead of doing that, I'm going to place you on deferred adjudication probation for 6 months, also assessing a $500 fine plus court costs. As long as you meet your probation conditions after the 6 months, this case will be dismissed. Do you understand, however, this case will still appear on your criminal record unless you take steps to conceal it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand one of the steps you can take is file a petition for non-disclosure?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that a non-disclosure is a court order to the Texas Department of Public Safety to not disclose your criminal record to the general public?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that even if that petition is granted, there are certain agencies that will still have access to this record?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand those agencies include law enforcement, schools, hospitals, federal securities agencies, and many more?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you understand ultimately this case will never be completely removed from your criminal record unless you receive a pardon from the governor of Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
There was paperwork submitted in order to complete this plea, which includes the Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 3914 compliance form, the judicial admonition of defendant's rights and plea agreement, the waiver of rights, consent to plea by video conference, the conditions of community supervision, and the instructions to probationers placed on supervision with Dallas County Probation Department. Your lawyer, Mr. Spangler, signed these forms on his and your behalf. Did you authorize Mr. Spangler to sign these forms on your behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
The court takes judicial notice of the defendant's authorization that Mr. Spangler sign the aforementioned documents on her behalf. Mr. Jackson, do you have anything you want to add at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bell, immediately upon the conclusion of our Zoom conference, I will call you on your cell phone, review your conditions with you, and answer any questions you may have for probation.
Okay.
Mr.
That's all you
Spangler, okay. Mr. Spangler, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with the state about the possibility of probating the fine, and they have no objection. So I would request that the court probate the $500 fine in this case.
Can I ask why the fine is so high? This is a theft 100, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I was just wondering, was there a reason behind the fine being as high as it is at this point?
I'll be honest with you, Your Honor. When we talked about the terms, they did not mention anything in particular about why they wanted the fine to be that way. And when they mentioned that as one of their requests, all I did was ask if they would have an objection to probating it. So if there is a reason on their side, I don't know what it is.
Okay, so I'll probate the fine, Ms. Bell. That means that as long as you follow your probation conditions, you won't have to pay the fine. But if you violate probation, that fine is going to kick right back in. So it's kind of up to you whether or not you end up having to pay that fine or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, that concludes the plea. I'm stopping the